My name is Amber Allen, and I am a yoga teacher, and I'm also a postpartum doula. So on the yoga side, I teach a lot of prenatal classes in addition to mommy and me baby classes. And I do teach regular yoga classes, but I primarily focus on women in their childbirthing year. As a postpartum doula, I work with families who are new and not entirely sure what they should do as new parents, and so I help get them acclimated to their new family of 3 or 4 or however many children they have. I really enjoy being a part of the process of expanding families. I think it was just the idea of being calm and being relaxed. I am the type of person who really feels pulled in different directions and feels like I constantly need to be doing something either in my community or at home. Yoga just kind of helps put the brakes on that fast-paced lifestyle and kind of brings everything back to center. There's so much to yoga that makes sense spiritually, but also scientifically. Thousands of years ago, people were figuring out things about the proper way to breathe and the proper way to take care of your body, and it's only until now it seems that science is catching up with ancient yoga knowledge. So that really excites me. When I first became a mother, I was new to the community and I didn't have any other mom friends. And so becoming a mom, even though it was very exciting, I felt totally unprepared to be a mom, and I felt incredibly isolated and alone. One of the things that really helped me kind of pull me together was taking a Mommy and Me class with my daughter. It was just such a great bonding experience. I mean, I had been practicing yoga and was already a yoga teacher before my daughter was born, but this kind of helped bring it all together. Making sure that other moms don't feel isolated is really an important mission to me personally, and so by teaching them prenatal yoga, I help get them resources in the community so they don't feel alone after their babies are born, or helping them prepare for whichever kind of birth that they want to have. As a doula, I have this innate desire to mother other people, and it was just something that kind of fell into my lap, and I was just like, oh, I can make a living doing this? Like, it was just perfect. So combining the postpartum doula aspect with the yoga kind of made everything come full circle. I always really liked to practice crow. That was the pose that I saw in the magazines and in the yoga books. Right when I was learning about yoga, I'm like, that is going to be my goal. Like, that's my goal pose. Like, I'm gonna work at it. And so I would practice balancing on my hands and then lifting one toe up off the floor until I was able to actually do it. So it's just a pose that I feel really powerful and free in. I guess the advice that I would give them is just to listen to their body, especially if you're coming to a yoga practice when you're pregnant. Your body is producing this hormone called relaxin, so it's making your limbs and your ligaments looser than they normally would be. So especially pregnant women have a tendency to overstretch. And so it's all about finding that limit and not crossing that line. That can be the difference of having a healthy yoga practice to an unhealthy yoga practice where you're constantly nursing injuries. And that can kind of go with any sort of, any yoga person, but especially with pregnant women, being mindful of their body and all of the changes that are happening. It's really, you have to be self-aware and not being afraid to tell me or any other yoga teacher, like, no, this is where I need to be. I'm a vanilla girl, but unfortunately am lactose intolerant, so I know. But so my favorite dessert is cherry pie. My mother and my grandmother, when I was little, helped me learn how to make my own dough. And so we would make pies from scratch. And I just loved like working with the dough with my hands, because you have to be so gentle with it in order to mold it and not have it tear and just make it do everything that you need it to do. So it's really kind of having that special touch. And when I was a kid, because we made our own dough, I would like sneak into the kitchen and steal extra dough that we didn't use, and then I would dip it in the cherry pie filling jar. Oh my God, like I still love to do that. It's like heaven for me. I am a birthrights advocate. So I've really worked in my community to make sure that women have a choice in where and how they want to give birth. My 2 kids were born at a birth center here in Charleston by certified nurse midwives. I just want to make sure that the families get to choose and not anyone else, not the government or their physician. And I mean, it really depends on how healthy the pregnancy is and what the family wants, because that makes a huge impact in their new roles as parents and having a healthy and happy birth experience. I love to paddleboard. I bought my first paddleboard a month before I became pregnant. So the paddleboard hasn't gotten much use in the past 5 years. But when I am able to get out in the water, it's just so amazing. It's growing up in the Midwest and far away from the ocean. The ocean in itself is such a powerful force, and it's also mysterious with all of the creatures that live within it. So I have a healthy respect for the water, but I just have that pull to be close to the ocean. So being on a board with friends is just such a treat for me. About 10 years ago, I donated my right kidney to my cousin. I was 24 when it happened, and she was 30. And we grew up in different areas of the country, and her father had passed away when I was in high school. So my dad was a father figure to her. She had always had health problems in her life, and when she was born, legend has it that a doctor said by the time that she's 30, she's probably going to need a kidney transplant. And so by the time she was 30, she needed a kidney transplant. I just happened to have the same blood type as her, even though we had grown up in different areas and we didn't really know each other than staying in touch through my dad. I just felt compelled to do something to help. I was a perfect match. And so she was living in Arizona at the time, and my now husband, then boyfriend, and I flew there to the Mayo Clinic in Phoenix, and I had a laparoscopic surgery, and I stayed in the hospital for 3 days. It was the first and only surgery I've ever had. It was so incredible. When I walked for the first time after my surgery, she was walking along with me, and it was the day after the surgery, and watching her walk made me overcome with tears. I just broke down and cried. It really just like hit me, like the impact that I made in her life. It was a crazy time. I've met a lot of resistance from certain members of my family because they didn't want to, they just didn't want me to risk my life because I was young and I knew I wanted kids one day and everything, but I did it, and I would do it again if I had another kidney. But yeah, it was an amazing experience.